In this lesson, we're going to be deriving equations from 2 points. So anytime you've got 2 points, meaning 2 xy coordinates, you should be able to figure out the equation of the line that connects the 2 points. Okay, the equation of the straight line that connects the 2 points. So let's choose 2 random points. Let's say I gave you -2, 7, and let's do this for fun, 12, 10. Okay. There's a couple steps that we need to follow. First thing is find the rise over run, which is the same thing as the change in y over the change in x, and I'm using these triangles to represent the term change in. These are delta symbols, and all this is for my variable m. So remember, by now, we're writing all of our equations in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, so step 1, figure out what m is. So how do we figure out what m is? Well, we need to figure out what the change in y over the change in x is. It's given to me right here. So let's figure that out. Here's y, 7 to 10. How do I get from 7 to 10? I add 3. How do I get from -2 to 12? I add a whopping 14. So my change in y over my change in x here is 3 over 14. This is my value of m. Okay? It's 3 over 14. Now the second thing we need to do is finding b. And you're going to find b by choosing a point. We're going to choose one of the points and substituting them or plugging them in into y equals mx plus b. Now, does it matter which point we choose? Absolutely not. So we're going to do this now. We've got some fun numbers to work with. I'm going to choose -2, 7. So this means that my x is going to equal -2 and my y is going to equal 7. Okay? Y equals 7, x equals -2. So as I solve this, here's what this looks like. I know m is 3/14. So instead of y is going to become 7. We know m is 3 over 14. X is -2. And we don't know what b is because that's what we're solving for. So here we have a linear equation where we're going to solve for b. So as I do this, 3/14 times -2 gives me -3 over 7. And how did I get -3 over 7? Well, if I did -3/14, if I did 3/14 times -2, that's -6 over 14, which reduces by 2 to -3 over 7. Okay. Now what do I have to do? I add 3/7 to both sides. These cancel out. And I'm left with, this one's not too bad. I can do 7 and 3/7 equals B. So in this case, B equals 7 and 3/7. B also equals 52/7. Okay, either one of those work, and I have everything I need. Okay, doesn't matter which one I use. I have M and I have X. That's all I mean, I have M and I have B. That's all I needed. So Y equals 3/14 X plus 7 and 3/7, or Y equals 3/14 X plus 52/7. Okay, either one of these work. They mean the same thing. Now, if I use 1210, I would have gotten the same exact answer. Okay, I would have gotten the same equivalent answer. And if you'd like to see that, I can do that as well. So let's change a few things. So again, we're going to use y equals mx plus b. But in this case, we're going to choose this point just to show that it doesn't matter which one you use. X is 12, y is 10. We're going to plug that into y equals mx plus b. So again, y is 10 equals, we know m is 3/14, it's right here, times 12, because that's what x is, it's 12, plus b. I get 10 equals 3 times 12 is 36, 36 over 14. I'm going to reduce that. 36 and 14 are both divisible by 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 14 divided by 2 is 7 plus b. And now I'm going to subtract. Okay? And now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract 18/7 from the left side and the right side. These are going to cancel each other out. And I used purple. So if I have 18/7, 10 is the same thing as 70/7, and 70 minus 18 is 52/7. Equals B. Okay, so I ended up with the same thing. I still have 3/14, and I still ended up with B equals 52/7. So this still applies. Okay, this is still correct. And since both of these are equivalent to each other, both of these are correct. As long as you got something for B that's equivalent to 7 and 3/7 or 52/7, that's all you need. Okay. Please remember, when you write these equations out, you need to write in y. You need to write in x. You need to write in the value of m and the value of b. Okay, if it is not written in this form, if a variable is missing, if a number is missing, your equation is wrong. Okay, there are going to be no exceptions to that. There will be no partial credit, nothing. So let's try one more. I'm going to have you work on this one. Let's pick the points -8, 2, and let's go with 6, -10. Why not? So I want you to try this one on your own. Okay. I'm gonna ask for you to pause the video. Remember, you're gonna figure out 1, what is the change in y over the change in x? And then 2, you're going to solve for the value of b by picking a point and plugging it in. Okay, so please pause the video. All right, so the first thing we should have done is solve for m, which is the change in y over the change in x, or my rise over run. Well, y changes by subtracting 12, and x changes by adding 14. So I get m equals negative 12 over 14, which is the same thing as negative 6/7. Okay, negative 6/7. So now we have m. Now the second thing we need to do is figure out b. So remember, when we figure out b, we need to find a point. Well, we have points. We need to choose a point and plug it in. It does not matter which point you use, okay? We're going to use both and show that it works regardless of which one you use. Let's do the first one. We know x equals negative 8, y equals 2. We're going to plug in y for y, and y equals mx plus b. We know the value of m, it's negative 6/7. We know x is negative 8. We're going to find b. Okay, so y, m, x. Again, y is 2 because we said it. We chose that point. M we found was negative 6/7. X we found is negative 8 plus b. So we bring down the 2 equals negative 6 times negative 8 gives me positive 48 over 7 plus b. Again, here's a trick you could do if you have fractions. Remember how I taught you how to eliminate fractions? You can do that here too, okay? Or you can just subtract 48/7. That's fine with me too. Or you can change 48/7 into a mixed number and subtract that. Any of those methods work. For the sake of my sanity, I'm going to eliminate the fraction by multiplying everything by 7. Okay? Just like I taught you guys before, you can eliminate a fraction by multiplying everything by the common denominator, which in this case is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 48 over 7, the 7's cancel out. And then 7 times b gives me 7b. Perfect. I'm going to subtract 48. Remember, this equation is equivalent to the one before multiplying by 7. Subtract by 48. These cancel out. 14 minus 48 gives me negative 34, which equals 7b. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 7. These cancel out. And my answer ends up being negative 34 over 7 equals b. Okay, negative 34 over 7 equals b. Now, if that's the case, it should still work with the other numbers, okay, from the other point. So I'm going to prove to you that it doesn't matter which one you chose, you should have gotten the same answer. So let's do this one in purple. Okay, this case, x equals 6, y equals negative 10. So we're going to substitute y equals mx plus b. In this case, y is negative 10. M is negative 6/7. X is 6. And b stays b. So now I'm going to multiply everything out. Negative 10 equals negative 6 times 6 gives me negative 36 over 7 plus b. I want to get rid of my fraction again. So I'm going to multiply everything by 7. Was I using purple? 7 times negative 10 gives me negative 70. 7 times negative 36 over 7 just gives me negative 36 plus 7b. Now I'm going to add 36 to both sides. These cancel out. It's negative 70 plus 36 gives me 34 negative equals 7b. Then I have to divide both sides by 7. And again, I get negative 34 over 7 equals b. Okay? So b equals negative 34 over 7. Now I'm going to write out my equation. Remember, y stays y. M needs a value, which is negative 6/7. X stays x. And b needs a value, which we found was negative 34 over 7. And that's it. You're done. Again, you do not need to use both points. I just showed you with both points that you would still get the same answer. You only need to do this process for number 2 once. Okay? You don't need to do it twice. I did it twice just to prove a point. So if you did it once here and you got the answer, awesome. What you could also always do is check your answer by plugging in the point into your equation and making sure that if you substitute x as either negative 8 or 6, that you get either 2 or negative 10 as y. That's all there is to it. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot.